Hey, hello and welcome. We're on for another episode. I'm just going to adjust this a minute. There we go. I think that's a little bit better. I'm doing two things. I'm doing my computer and my iPhone, so I have to um, adjust. There, that's a little bit better for at least for. Hi, Caroline. That's at least a little bit better for. Anyways, centering myself there. So, welcome to coming into being. And this is the space for just connecting in with yourself, relaxing, going deeper, kind of giving yourself kind of like that spa time and just to strengthen that connection with yourself and with your being. Hey, Kayla. Um, and do stop by in the chat and say hello. I can see people on Instagram when they show up, but on Facebook and YouTube, if you're out there, and I see people out that are, I see the numbers out there, but it's like if you don't stop by in the chat, then I don't know you're there. So it's always nice to know who's showing up and stuff. So just take. We're just gonna yes, please, and hey. So we're gonna just take that time and somebody I know who's just been through surgery might she's planning on trying to stop by. So I think that I was just tuning in just before signing on, and feels like just kind of going into that. Hey, Roma, just kind of going into that space where we're really going to go in deeply and just it's going to be about nourishing the self, nourishing the body, nourishing the soul, nourishing all of us. So let's start by just taking a few deep breaths, letting yourself relax, and on each exhale just letting it all kind of out, everything that's not present moment, just gone with the breath, putting it aside, leaving it at the door, so to speak. Uh, and Roma says hello to all the beautiful people on the call. So wherever you are, sending out that nice hello to everyone. And letting yourself just settle in a little bit more. Slow down that breath. Make it a little bit more conscious, like we're really paying attention to that breath, breathing in deeply, exhaling out, settling into your body. Some people are feeling a little bit more ragged than others, so this is going to be good for you. Sometimes we especially when we're kind of like coaches and I've seen healers do this and really shouldn't, but coaches and people are out there, motivational people, what I see happening a lot with people like that, and nurses, health people, caretakers, healthcare professionals who are taking care of others. I'm seeing this show up. That's why I'm bringing it up. Is that we kind of we put on a happy face, we really show the positive side, and inside we really aren't there. So we're going to address that part of just being not quite there, and you're putting on that motivational face and putting out there and doing your posts or your videos or whatever. Hey, Asta, good to see you. And let's bring some nourishment, some support to that part. Because what happens is if you're not 100% with that motivation from yourself, and not that just that motivation, but that just feeling bright, feeling lively, feeling vibrant, might think that you're showing that vibrant side of yourself when you're out there with your clients. Uh, but what's happening, a lot of people aren't necessarily conscious of that, but those of us who are more sensitive, and actually there's a lot of people who are more sensitive, but they don't let themselves confirm that for themselves, is that people are going to get two signals from you. They're going to get that vibrant, positive signal, but behind that is going to be that, oh, I'm tired. I just am not in a good place signal. And the problem is that those are coming in together. So it's really important to feed ourselves, to take care of ourselves, to really balance that part out so that when we do come forward and put ourselves out there to others, we're coming from a place of wholeness where all of us is feeling whole and complete. Of course, we're never there 100%, but taking care of that part before you actually go out to people so that you're carrying 100, more of the 100% of the positive message that you want to get out to people. Otherwise, what's happening is the message that's getting out there is like you have to push yourself. You have to like show that happy face, that positive face to the world, and you have to hold back on how you're really feeling. And that's the message that gets translated out to people unconsciously, and that's what they're really picking up on. So let's take a deep breath in. We're going to work on that part, that inner part, that deeper part that needs that support. And then when we give that support to that deeper part, then we don't have to put on that happy face because it's more naturally there. So let's take another nice deep breath in. So I kind of get the whole group settled in here into kind of just settling into a deeper space, relaxing more. Coming in, bringing your awareness to into your chest area and just noticing your breathing. Starting to kind of slow your mind down. Notice that breathing. And if you feel so tired that you're gonna maybe fall asleep, that's okay. You're still gonna be getting this. And actually, that's a good thing because that's taking you to a deeper place where your mind is gonna just shut down because it needs to shut down so that you can go into that deeper place and really give yourself that deeper nourishment. So cut that chest space, noticing your breath. Just allow yourself to be present and be aware of that rhythm and feel your body expanding and contracting with the breath. As I could just put a little bit more coherence in the space here for everybody. Yeah, and so that's starting to bring kind of some emotional layers there to the surface, which is good. It's better to let it come up to the surface instead of holding it in and just kind of like, okay, I'll take care of this later, or I'm not going to pay attention to this, or whatever it is that's going on. And there's some lower back issues that are showing up. Emotional issues, just physical fatigue is showing up. So all of that coming to the surface. It's like when you go on vacation, you've been like busting your butt off at work for just months and months and months, and then you go on that Caribbean vacation or wherever you get to the beach and you just collapse and you're asleep for the first 4 days of your 5-day vacation, right? So that's kind of that feeling because all of that tiredness just really comes to the surface. No more pushing it down. Oof. Yeah, here we go into that a little bit deeper relaxation. Anybody who's new, when I'm kind of twitching around like that, that's just there's a shift that's happening in the general, like with this as a group. So with the group, and just there's a shifting, so letting go or recalibrating that's happening, and it just my system for the moment just registers that. I've only been doing this for about 5 years out of 25. So just when we get into these deeper deeper states of being, which is all part of the work here. So I'm going to be quiet for a little bit and just keep focusing on your heart space, your chest space, focusing on the breath, letting yourself relax with every breath. And letting yourself receive. There's some resistance to receiving. When we're always the one who's got to be on top of it, especially when, like for a business. Um, yeah, it's good to learn to switch out of that and switch into receive. So if you've been like busy and you're on top of it for your business right now, give yourself that breath to just relax out of that and relax into receiving. Yeah, that's better. Better, and just keep letting it melt out. Melt out of that doing, melt into being, melt into receiving. Yeah, there we go. That was just a good release that happened here. And if you want, you can let yourself visualize yourself just kind of being in that hammock, swaying in the breeze, or maybe sitting at that sauna in the hammam. Some cultures have really good traditions of that. Sauna and the hammam, there's this in Arabic countries and probably other places where it's the steam bath, but it's the whole culture. You go there, you spend the day, and it's like the women are all there. They're doing their henna, they're just sitting around, they're just relaxing, letting the heat just open up those pores and releasing all that dirt. So we're going to do the same here today too. Going into that deeper, everything just relaxing more deeply. The muscles relaxing more, the nerves letting go more. Yeah, we have a little lag with the internet there. Going to the current spawn Friday, so this is that'll be my prep. Yeah, so there's another culture that's really got there where you just sit, you unwind. It's not just a quick hour. It's like, the whole afternoon, half a day, the whole day. Just letting everything just relax more deeply. And as we relax more deeply, just like in the hammam, that dirt just releasing out, those pores clearing out. Coming into that stillness of being, stillness of mind, stillness of being, your body just coming into a place of stillness because the mind is not running around. Opening up those heart space, that heart space. Just allowing it to just open up, soften up. Allowing yourself to come into that deeper state. And when we come into that deeper state, then we can take in those frequencies of that energy, frequencies of purity, of our pure essence, and that's what feeds and nourishes our system at that deeper level. That's what provides us all the juice to do what we need to do at the physical and everything we want to do at the physical level. And the more you hold that within yourself and fill yourself up completely, the more it radiates out to everyone around you. And you don't need to do anything. That's just coming into that deeper state of being opens that up to radiating out, and people will pick it up, and maybe not consciously, might not be aware of it, but they'll just feel better just being in your proximity when you're in that deeper state of alignment with yourself. What a fantastic way to change the world, to come into that purity of essence for ourselves and radiating that out. And that automatically opens that up, that possibility up for people to come into that place for themselves, to come into that state of wholeness for themselves. So, so all of you coming here today to do this, you're reinforcing it globally. And this isn't, I'm going to say, this isn't just the New Age hogwash. No offense to anybody. At, at the non-physical level, and physics talks about it, different language, but at the non-physical level, everything is connected to everything. It's like there's this webbing that goes out throughout all of existence. We're all connected at that level. So everything that one of us does impacts and goes out to everything else. So as a group right now, we're going into the space of saying, I'm going to take care of myself. I'm going to take this time to nourish myself, come into this wholeness for myself. And we're sending out that resonance, that message out to everybody. Roma says, totally, our presence is awareness to others. So coming into it and more deeply with every breath, everybody's just going into a very nice, deep space here. Really let yourself just take that in, soak that in as best as you can. Again, coming back to that receiving piece, right? This is something that we will never receive enough of, or enough of in the sense that you can always go and receive more of this. It's not like, oh, 100%, okay, we're going to turn off the tap now. The tap is always flowing here with this. And with each breath, just that brightness is increasing. Giving more space in the mind in the head. You give more space in the head and the mind and in your being. There's more clarity of thought, more clarity of action. You come more into the present moment, into the now, which is the only place where you actually can reside 100%. The clearer your actions, the clearer your thoughts, the more aligned you are with yourself. And so the more aligned your thoughts and your actions are with who you are and what you're here to be and to bring forth. Let's take a nice deep breath into this. Hold your breath at the top as long as you can and really feel that fullness within that's building up within you. You might not feel it 100%. You might only feel it like 1%. That's okay. It's there. And putting your awareness on there, growing it. Stretching the boundaries for some of you on this sense of wholeness. So that's good. There's some have a little bit of restriction, limitations around them. Duty comes up, obligation comes up, responsibility comes up. All these coming up in a way that is limiting, and it's like what it's like casting this big net over you and keeping you from, like a fish getting caught in the net, can't swim free. Yeah, that's bringing up questions. So that's good. Bring up questions around weight, around a lot of things that we have learned about having to be responsible for other people. So we've got to walk that very delicately. If we put ourselves out of alignment with who we are and what we are here for, we're not doing anybody any good. Again, if we remember what I said earlier, everything's interconnected. What each individual does impacts the whole. So if we're doing something that takes us out of alignment, which is basically abusing ourselves. So abuse, let me give you a definition, a wider range definition, more comprehensive definition of abuse is anything that takes you out of alignment with yourself and off your path in life. So we can, when we come into a higher state of being, there's so many things that we have laws and rules and dictates at the human level that just fall away, that aren't needed anymore because they become so obvious. So it's like matter of fact, well, of course, you're going to help somebody out who's going to need support, like the old person trying to get across the street and doesn't see very well and can't walk very well. Of course, you're going to help them out. So responsibility is a moot point because these things become so obvious and clear, and not out of obligation, not out of, you do this to be a good person. No, you're simply doing it because it's just It's just obvious. There is none of this, well, to be a good person, you gotta do X, Y, Z. No, you're inherently a good person. You don't have to do something to be a good person. That's a catch-22 there. When you have to do something to be good, to be what? That's conditional. So when you get into a higher state of being, you don't need the conditional. It's like unconditional love. Well, okay, when we get into pure love, it is unconditional. It's like you don't need to say that it's unconditional. Love is that way to begin with. So that net. So I'm getting back to that net that I was seeing cast over at least some of you with that obligation, that duty, that responsibility. Because those things can get turned around so quickly and be used against you and be used against that higher notion of how we are supposed to be. And there's tons of examples out there. I'm in Europe. I've got European background, so one of the things in that side that we all have heard about, the Holocaust, and how often that's like duty to your country. Heard that in other states of war, obligation, responsibility. How that got used to send people off into gas chambers simply because, well, we don't like these people. So so that's a pretty heavy talk here, but that's just to really get beyond that piece and really come into that alignment with ourselves, come into the truth of ourselves and that deeper state of being, higher state of being, higher state of consciousness. And all of this becomes a moot point because we're not living in that lower vibrational level of existence and consciousness. So once you move into higher levels, you can't even go there anymore. So to give you an example, for some of us, some people are kind of going, really? If you look at math, for example. So the math you learned in elementary school is not the same math that you learn and that you work with in university, grad studies, PhD level. So you go up higher, and it's like you can't go back to function, doing all the stuff once you get up to those higher levels. As you move into higher levels of math, you don't try to do the same stuff with a lower, just doesn't make any sense, right? So it operates the same way in terms of consciousness, in terms of states of being. So let's take a nice deep breath in. Let's just release all of that limitation. Coming into your chest space, bringing your awareness a little bit more deeply into your chest space, into your heart. Into that purity of your being. Let's release those limitations from coming into our purity. That's the most important thing. opening that up. So very nice. Yeah, that was a little bit heavy talk there, but it's clearing out a lot more stuff for people, coming into much, much brighter space than where we were before. So, like ignited this much deeper state in people. So you might feel in your heart. It's quite pretty. It's growing. So let's grow this piece a little bit. A very deep place. A very high. It's very sorry. I'm kind of like jumping over my words here. Um, it's a very high frequency level that's really set off in all of you. So very nice. So you might feel it. You might feel like a spark inside. You might feel like a glow. You might feel a warmth. You might have kind of a positive feeling coming through. And even if you're not quite there, there's different levels in the group. I mean, and so some are not quite at this. Some are on the lower spectrum, some on the higher spectrum, but that's okay. You know, so if you don't feel like you're quite there, that's you're in you're in the group. You're getting exposed to that. So it's enlivening. It's enlivening, planting that seed in you, and it's giving it that nourishment to grow. I've said this before a long time ago. Somebody was asking me about my work and why I felt it was important. And I said, I know when I work on somebody, so I'm working on you generally speaking in the group, but I know that if I work on somebody once, I have changed them forever. It's very clear to me because even if that doesn't show up immediately in people's lives and their lives and their that seed is there, that seed is planted, and it's going to keep growing and nurturing them. It's opening up to something more for themselves. And once you open up to something more for yourself, you can never go back. You just, it's like you don't want to. When you have a taste of something that tastes a little bit better, it's like that chocolate. I don't know what chocolate's coming up, but once you have really good chocolate, it's like you don't want to go back to that gritty can dime store chocolate bar, that gritty chocolate. It's like, ugh, you just really don't want to eat that stuff anymore, right? Same thing. So let's take another nice deep breath into this. Very nice space. And I just see that spark of purity in each one of you. It's really beautiful. So as we come to an end, just start to become aware of your environment. You're still in the space, but I want you to come into the awareness of your environment right here, wherever you are. Just kind of gently looking around the space where you are, what's around you, noticing it, noticing the distance between you and objects so that really kind of anchors you into that time space alignment. So, not going to close this out. It's going to keep going. Mm. It's like this spark has been kind of ignited in all of you. So let's just let it grow and glow. Very nice. How are you all doing out there? Feeling great and relaxed. Good. Very good. Anybody else want to share where they're at? How they're feeling right now? All right. Okay, well, we'll just call it a day for today, and we'll be back next Wednesday. And wherever you are, we'll see you in the ethers definitely, and have a good rest of your week. And and some of you I know I'm seeing before next Wednesday, and so wherever we meet up again, thanks for stopping by, and take care.